All right,
Wow, that's a cool opening.
everyone. It is a cool opening, brand new for today, and welcome, uh, Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. We are so glad that you're here with us. Uh, we have been, I don't know, if we added all the time we've been up and on in the last 24 hours, there'd be several hours worth, and we are happy to
I've been
be able
live
to.
5 days this week.
Yes, you have.
This is my fifth day.
And who knows what's in store as we continue. Obviously, the huge news of the last 24 hours, the United States and Israel have launched an attack on Iran. Numerous members of the government and military have been eliminated from their existence on this planet. They are currently having relations with a gay Rottweiler, 72 of them. And for all intents and purposes, that would be hell for anybody.
Yeah, I would say so.
And just so people get the reference, hell will be even worse than that. So that's their temporary status. We welcome everybody as they come in. Ronnie, give us some kind of a not a recap, but an update on what we know as of this time.
Well, right now, as we know, the supreme leader in Iran has been eliminated, like you said. Several other leaders. Of course, Iran's not admitting that. I'm just going to pull up Steve Lookner, courtesy of Agenda Free TV. He's got a live shot right now in Tel Aviv. Israel and the United States went in, attacked some major targets in Iran. Iran has retaliated, hit several United States bases and several other places. Saudi Arabia has joined with the fight. This morning, 2:33 a.m., something like that. Local time is when it all kind of went crazy. President Donald Trump went live with an 8-minute speech, and I have a 30-second clip of that speech.
To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms. You will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death.
Also stated that now is the time for regime change, and it's past time. Unfortunately, though, and this is something that we talked about on the earlier stream, something that we have to be on the lookout for is sleeper cells. And yeah, it's easy to sit here and go, oh, well, that's going on a world away, but that doesn't mean that it's not coming here, that it's not already here, that it can't happen here. So that's the number one thing that has got my hackles up is sleeper cells, terroristic attacks, war here on the homeland, and of course then you've got your typical Looney Tune leftists that's saying that Donald Trump is mentally incapable, seeing as how he attacked Iran and how other presidents have tried and failed before. So we got a bunch of stuff to get into.
Well, we've not tried in this manner and failed. Jimmy Carter tried and failed with a rescue attempt,
No.
But we're not in there to rescue people. We're in there to kill people, and there's a huge difference.
Right.
I don't know. I've not heard any casualty figures other than I think that one school that had a huge number of girls.
Yeah.
So I have a list. I was able to find one of targets that have been eliminated. Again, as Ronnie stated, Iran is disputing many of these, including the leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, however it is that he would. Well, he doesn't really care how you pronounce his last name now, but
Yeah, it don't matter.
the supreme
Dirtbag.
leader reportedly killed in strikes on his compound by senior Israeli officials in multiple outlets, but not yet confirmed by Iran. They will probably have him running around in Morocco next week sometime, if you were to listen to their side of the story. Ali Shemkhani, secretary and former secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council and a senior advisor to the supreme leader, reportedly killed. Mohammed Pakpour, I'm just going to list them by their title, and nobody cares about their names anyway. Senior Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps commander, often described as a top ground or Qud-linked commander, reportedly killed in Tehran strike. Iran's defense minister reportedly killed in an Israeli strike. I read earlier today that the focus on individuals and killing people in government, Israel has taken that part of the operation as well as other parts, but you just got to say Israel is the expert on finding and killing leaders of
Oh yeah.
of countries, of groups. I mean, the things that they did in Gaza and in Lebanon with the leadership of Hamas and Hezbollah has been just amazing. It is too light of a word for that. Let's go back to the list. The chief of staff of the Iranian armed forces, the head of intelligence for Iran's emergency command, the head of the military office of the supreme leader, reportedly killed. The head of the Organization of Defensive Innovation and Research, eliminated. Former head of the SPND, not sure what those initials stand for, but it doesn't matter now because he's been eliminated. According to Iran International and other reports summarized in the region coverage, the reported head of Foreign Intelligence Unit has been eliminated. Reported head of a key security unit, gone. Another reported as head of counterterrorism unit, gone. Described as an advisor on the war with Israel, gone. And several unnamed senior Iran Revolutionary Guard commanders, the Basij paramilitary figures, many of those have been killed in the same wave of strikes, but without full name list yet. Iran's state media and some officials are explicitly disputing or downplaying several of these deaths that were just mentioned, including the Supreme Leader Khamenei, and we'll just continue to just say it reportedly. And Ronnie, what do you think when you're in a conflict and your senior leadership is decimated? Do you think? I'm sure they have backup plans, but man,
Yeah, you know, I've always heard you cut the head off a snake and it dies. And unfortunately, I think it's going to take a lot more cutting than what we've already accomplished to kill that snake. And I'm sure that Donald Trump and the United States Armed Forces, Israel. I was just reading about Great Britain, Saudi Arabia, like we talked about earlier. We're all up for it. Enough's enough. Iran is the world's largest supporter of terror, and but yeah, having your leadership cut off, for us, that would be, Donald Trump, JD Vance, Mike Johnson, and then, on down the line. It would take a lot to take out all leadership. So, it's something that needs to be done. It's something that needs to be done. High time. I fully support it, and I wish everybody in Iran and across the world safety, which is what everybody deserves, and we're not getting it with Iran.
Well, I would like to see a combined list of terrorist attacks, and we could probably do an AI search and find out of terrorist attacks since 1979 that were affiliated with Iran or one of Iran's proxies. And I'm going to tell you, it would take a long time to read that list.
And in this article right here, Iran has been firing missiles into at least half a dozen countries. It sounds to me like they're just spray and pray. That was an old term from back when we would play paintball. It was just kind of, close your eyes and throw as much paint towards the enemy as possible. And it sounds like to me that's what they're doing. At least 6 countries have reported attacks, many of which have U.S. bases. So maybe they're targeting U.S. bases, but my goodness, just because a U.S. base is on your soil doesn't mean you can just shoot at it,
Well, for those who may not normally be with us, our live stream is called Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie. Ronnie is there on your left. I'm on the right. I'm Pastor Ed Boston. And we've been doing this since 11, is it 11-4 or 11-5?
11-5.
11-5-24. So a year and a few months into this. I've been a podcaster since 2008. Ronnie's a rookie. Not really a rookie, but
a little over a year, but I'm still a rookie. I'm still learning.
There you are. Well, shoot, 2008, and I'm still learning because everything progresses and changes for the better most of the time. But we love what we do. We do this Monday, Wednesday, and either Friday or Saturday night. So we're scheduled 3 times a week. As Ronnie said earlier, he's actually been on 5 times with the State of the Union address, in addition to our other 3. And
the one this morning.
Well, actually, he's been on more than 5 times, but 5 days.
5 days. Yeah, I was on Monday, Tuesday for the State of the Union, our normal Wednesday. Last night at 2:30, this evening at 6:45ish, and then now. So, but I love Trevor because asking ye shall. He sent us a comprehensive list, a non-exhaustive list of prominent attacks and plots since 1979, and it's going to take a long time for me to read all this, even just touching the headlines. But wow, seizure of U.S. Embassy in Tehran, suicide bombing at the embassy in Beirut, Marine barracks bombing in Beirut, bombings in the U.S. Embassy, bombing of the U.S. Embassy Annex, hostage-taking campaign in Lebanon, hostage hijackings and bombings in Saudi oil and petrochemical facilities, bombing of an Israeli embassy, Buenos Aires, bombing of an AMIA Jewish community center, Khobar Towers bombing in Saudi Arabia, U.S. court findings tying Iran to 1998 U.S. embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania, abduction of 3 Israeli soldiers, Hezbollah cross-border killing, numerous IED rocket militia attacks, disrupted plot in the United States to assassinate Saudi ambassador, multiple alleged Iranian IRGC-linked plots, rocket attack on K1 base in Kirkuk, Iranian ballistic missile strike and Ain al-Assad airbase, series of rocket and drone attacks, U.S. indictment of IRGC member over alleged plot to kill former U.S. officials, Hamas October 7th massacre in southern Israel. But yeah, I could keep going. That was just a brief swipe of the list that of terror that Iran has brought to us. And right here, Susan, Iran created suicide bombers. You know, that was it's one thing they did do. They started all that rhetoric. Yes, the hotel in Dubai was hit by a drone. I was trying to get video, and I don't have one yet. I could bounce over here to agenda free. He's showing some things.
Early morning address, Trump said the strikes on Iran were aimed at ending a security threat, and he called on Iranian security forces to lay down their weapons and invited the Iranian people to topple their government once the bombing ended.
When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
Iran called the U.S.-Israeli strikes unprovoked and illegal. Tehran responded to the attacks with missiles fired at Israel and at several Gulf Arab allies of the United States that host American bases.
I don't see a diplomatic off-ramp.
Burcu Oshelik is a senior research fellow for Middle East security at Britain's Royal United Services Institute.
It's a huge gamble for all of the sides involved. There are many unknowns and unknowables in this scenario. It's a gamble for President Trump because there could be significant political costs for him in the tragic event of U.S. casualties. There will be a public backlash against that in the United States. We're already hearing about why Congress hasn't been involved in the decision-making process yet behind launching this offensive. There's a gamble for Israel. We do not yet have a sense of what damage Iran could do on Israel and its citizens, although thus far it has been limited. And it's a gamble for Iran, certainly.
Explosions from Saturday's strikes caused widespread panic across the region. Eyewitness video showed heavy damage.
I'm going to cut that off there. We got some more stuff to cover our way.
I wanted to read something that go along with what we were talking on being prepared here in the United States. I know we have at least one listener from Great Britain on here. Actually, everybody that are allies with the United States should probably be ready to shelter in place if necessary. But this is from FBI Director Kash Patel. 6 hours ago, FBI personnel are fully engaged on the situation overseas. Last night, I instructed our counterterrorism and intelligence teams to be on high alert and mobilize all assisting security assets needed. Our JTTFs throughout the country are working 24/7 as always to address and disrupt any potential threats to the homeland. While the military handles force protection overseas, the FBI remains at our forefront of deterring attacks here at home and will continue to have our team work around the clock to protect Americans. We ask everyone to please report anything that may seem suspicious to law enforcement. 1-800-CALL-FBI and tips.fbi.gov. Thank you to all military service members, federal partners, and law enforcement who continue to put mission first. And Ronnie, go into a little bit about our challenge to folks to be vigilant right now.
Yeah, so, back when 9/11 happened, it was the See Something, Say Something campaign. What we were talking about earlier on the live stream, and what we've talked about many times before, the sleeper cells, the possible terroristic attacks here in the country, stateside, the importance of defending yourself, the importance of having a way to defend yourself. You need to look at every situation. If I walk into a restaurant, the first thing I'm doing is looking for my exits, looking for potential threats. How can I get myself and my family and those around me out the fastest? Defensive tactics. We were talking earlier about we're not really going to be able to say guns, or we're going to call them pew pews or something like that because of sensors. But having a way to defend yourself, and like I said earlier, if you don't know how to safely operate a firearm, I don't suggest you go out and buy a gun and put it around in the chamber and put it in your purse or put it on your hip or anything like that. You need to learn how to use it. You need to learn how to do it safely, because if you don't know how to use it, if you don't know what you're doing, you're more of a danger to yourself and those that you're trying to protect than you are the bad guy. We talked about before about the shooter at the Greenwood Park Mall here in Indiana, Elisha Dickin. He was able to engage the target. 14 out of 16 shots were kill shots. He knew how to use that weapon, and he saved lives. So don't think that because you live in a small town or a rural area or it's not going to happen here. The same thing with all these attacks. What happened last night was major. It was a huge strike and blow to Iran's ego, and they're going to retaliate. They already have. They've shot missiles, but if you think that the missiles shooting at the bases over, a world away is going to be it, you're sorely mistaken. It's not if, but when it's going to happen. And I said earlier, if you need help in that area, please reach out. I will be glad to spend an afternoon with you, or whatever it takes to get you to be confident, to be able to defend yourself and those around you. I was thinking earlier, we were talking about this, and we have church in the morning, and boy, that church is probably one of the most safe places on the planet if something were to happen. And I know several other churches as well. So yeah, just like I said, please feel free to reach out. Randy, we were just talking about you and the guy that mowed into your front yard.
Fortunately, he didn't take out Randy's fence. Randy has a really, really nice privacy fence over around his property.
Right.
And
that's right.
He got the stop sign, but Randy's fence survived. Another item, and this is interesting because, as I mentioned, we have a guest from Great Britain in here.
Yes.
The E3, Germany, France, and Britain, nicknamed the E3, are taking a coordinated political line, distancing themselves from the strikes militarily, condemn Iran's retaliation, and call hard for de-escalation and return to nuclear talks. More on this. These three countries issued a joint statement condemning Iran's retaliatory attacks in the strongest terms and telling Tehran to refrain from future and further indiscriminate strikes. They reiterated long-standing demands that Iran halt its nuclear program, ballistic missile activity, regional destabilization, and domestic repression, and urged negotiated solutions instead of escalation. The statement clarified that none of the three participated in the U.S.-Israeli strikes, while stressing they remain in close communication with Washington, Israel, and regional partners. Now, I'm just going to be upfront and bold and blunt. I don't give a rap's rip whether we have the permission of Germany, France, or Great Britain on this. We didn't need it. We didn't ask for it. And if you want to stay distanced from us, you just go right ahead and stay distanced from us. You all three countries, our immigration issue here is mostly Hispanic immigration issues. The issues they have in their countries are Muslim issues in those. And so go ahead and distance yourself from us. But you may be on the other end of wanting the assistance of the United States if things go down in your neck of the woods. I got to tell you, if Macron is involved in it, I really don't want no part of it. I think he is one of the weakest leaders, probably for one of the
Right.
weakest
Yeah.
nations in the history of
Yeah.
mankind. I mean, Great Britain, they've got severe
Yeah.
problems right now. And I know our guest listening would verify the problems that they have with Muslim extremists in their country. Every single day, they're living with that. Germany, they just need to shut up. And so, with that said, I'll throw that over to
Yeah.
you, Ronnie.
Yeah, Randy right here says we've been carrying these countries for years. America needs to take care of America. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. Yeah, I really don't care what they have to say. Susan, our friend from across the pond, says I've said since January I am disappointed in the UK response. I believe I have, and I didn't get a chance to label my videos, but I've got a video somewhere of I believe it's the Prime Minister's response. Yeah, no. I don't have it, but I actually just had pulled up and I got rid of it. Let me see if I can go back and find it again. Where'd you go? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints issued a statement. The church said that all humanitarian volunteers in the region are safe and accounted for. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is closely monitoring the evolving situation of military strikes that occurred this morning in Iran and elsewhere in the region. We express our profound concern and heartfelt compassion for those living in harm's way. We join in prayer with families worldwide who have loved ones in the region. I don't know why they needed to set out a statement. It's not like the Lutherans set out a statement, the Catholics set out their statement, and it's pretty much all the same thing, I'm pretty sure.
I would guess that the only reason would be because of missionary outreach all
They're
over the world.
volunteers. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
many people would not know this. Many people would probably think we're making this up, but Christianity, the growth in Christianity in Iran is one of the largest growing Christian denominations, Christian churches, not one individual church, but a church by country in the world.
Yes.
Christians are coming out of the woodworks, and I would guess that is just a very, very minor tip of the iceberg of what's going to happen in the days and weeks to come. I have Trump's statement when he announced that Khamenei is dead. And here is the quote from the president: Khamenei, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. This is not only justice for the people of Iran, but for all great Americans and those people from many countries throughout the world that have been killed or mutilated by Khamenei and his gang of bloodthirsty thugs. He was unable to avoid our intelligence and highly sophisticated tracking systems, and working closely with Israel, there was not one thing he or the other leaders that have been killed along with him could do. This is the single greatest chance for the Iranian people to take back their country. We are hearing that many of the IRGC military and other security and police forces no longer want to fight and are looking for immunity from us. As I said last night, now they can have immunity. Later, they only get death. Hopefully, the IRGC and police will peacefully merge with the Iranian people or the Iranian patriots and work together as a unit to bring back the country to its greatness it deserves. The process should soon be starting, in that not only the death of Khamenei, but the country has been in only one day very much destroyed and even obliterated. The heavy and pinpoint bombing, however, will continue uninterrupted throughout the week or as long as necessary to achieve our objective of peace throughout the Middle East. Indeed, the world. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And I like the way he phrases that, and he uses it quite often as if he didn't have their
But
attention.
they have our attention, yeah.
Yeah, you just now. Let's look for a second, Ronnie. I'm going to just ask your opinion. We knew that it wouldn't take long for liberals to start in. I think most of my adult life, anytime that there was any kind of conflict, Congress, one side or the other, would be yapping about the War Powers Act, and you've got 48 hours to notify Congress. The group of 8, which is the 8 leaders, 4 from each of the parties, were informed before this happened, unlike not being informed when Venezuela happened. Amazing that the military couldn't trust the group of 8.
Well, there's a reason why.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
what do you think about the liberals? And I'm going to look for a chart that I saw a few minutes ago while you talk, and I'll come back with it.
Okay. So, you know, we joked last night, you know, early this morning, Beth and Mary, I believe, somebody asked the question, you know, which one of the loony leftists is going to be the first person to say something. I believe Mary asked, and Beth replied, Jeffries. I forgive me if not. I have not had much sleep today, but you know, oddly enough, when I woke up after my 3 hours of sleep, that was exactly the first person I heard from was Hakeem Jeffries. You know, the left, no matter what, is Orange Man bad. That's the only thing that they browbeat everybody in the world over the head is Orange Man bad, Orange Man bad, Orange Man bad. And we've made the joke before that Donald Trump could, on his own dime and his own time, come out of the basement of the White House with the cure for cancer that he discovered on his all by himself, you know, and he's going to give it away to the world for free. The left would somehow find something to bitch about, to complain about. You know, Orange Man bad. He stole it from somebody else. He stole it. You know, it doesn't matter what he does. And that's just something that everybody needs to keep in the back of their mind, because we can sit here. I've got a couple stories pulled up right now of people already complaining and protesting in Times Square over this. It's pointless, because the left is going to complain and fight and argue and kick and scream no matter what. Donald Trump can come out with bags full of cash and hand out to each and every living human being, and the left would cry, well, the bag of money's too heavy. Why couldn't he give it to us on a debit card? Why didn't he do this years ago? The list would be too long of what they complain about. They would complain about free money. Right here, in the dark of night, 10 minutes before President Donald Trump even announced that the U.S. and Israel had attacked Iran, a network of U.S. nonprofits aligned with China, Russia, and Tehran activated foot soldiers to hit America's streets. Groups funded by Neville Roy Singham, a Shanghai-based American-born tech tycoon, which regularly parrot messaging from America's adversaries, swung into action even as initial bombs were dropping. The nearly instantaneous response was the latest salvo in an information war in the U.S., with foot soldiers called upon to converge and protest and echo anti-U.S. talking points. At 2:34 a.m. Eastern Standard, the Answer Coalition, a nonprofit project whose leaders self-describe as Marxist and communist, announced emergency nationwide day of action today, Saturday, February 28th, stop the war with Iran. You know, like Ed was saying, we went into Venezuela and didn't discuss it, didn't take it to Congress because of the leaks, because it's pretty bad when you can't trust the left not to leak information that could ultimately lead to ending United States service personnel or even civilian personnel's lives. So obviously that had to be kept secret, but you're telling me that before anybody really knew that these bombs, before it was mainstream, before Donald Trump came out and said anything, before Pete Hegseth said anything, these people were already out in the streets protesting? Now, I get it, being worried, maybe not agreeing with President Donald Trump's decision to go into Iran, but people really need to do a little bit of research. It's not like Donald Trump woke up this morning or yesterday morning was like, you know what? I'm sick of it. Let's go. We've talked about this for a long time. Iran doesn't need nuclear weapons. They do not. That if that doesn't scare the daylights out of you, I don't know what will. And their weapons program and their anger, their extremists, look at it now. They've been attacked and they've launched missiles at half a dozen countries. And there's no telling what's going to happen in the next days. There's no telling what's going to happen in the next hours, much less days, weeks, months, or even years. I went earlier with a brief list of some of the terror bombings or things that Iran has been linked to, and that was just scratching the surface. So, but the left, no matter what, they're going to complain, and I just don't even care. It goes in one ear and out the other because, like I said, they complain about free money. So let me get caught up on some of the comments when I was chattering.
Well, once again, welcome to everybody that is here with us. We've had people come and go. We are red, white, and true with Ed and Ronnie. And apparently Ronnie's mom has said something humorous.
If he jumped in the ocean and saved a drowning child, the left would complain about him starving the sharks. And they would have riots and they would have people chanting with drums saying shark lives matter. And I'm sure that they would be dressed up as sharks in the big inflatable costumes and dancing around. It's really sad, but I could see that happening. I mean,
well, I didn't find the meme that I was looking for, but it listed flags that the left has used in their protests in the last, I don't remember how long. They were they were flying the Hamas flag, and they were flying the Palestinian flag, and it was a list of about 8 different things that are all un-American, that the left and their protesters, and the bottom line, it said, when are you going to support America? And it just kind of went off, when are you going to support America? What does America have to do or not do to please the left? Tortoise lives matter.
Tourette's. Tourette's. Yeah, you're exactly right. What does America have to do to please them? It'll never be that way. They want gay rights because apparently gay people don't have rights. I don't understand what it means that they can't vote because they put what where. The whole gay rights thing, it makes no sense to me. You can't turn on any kind of TV show without some kind of homosexuality. So okay, give them gay rights or whatever, and they get parades and they get months and they get holidays and they, transgenders. Okay, well then we give them everything they want and they're still not happy.
Well, I mean, think about this. You can be opposed to the president and his decision on going to war right now.
Yeah.
You're free and you're American. I'm just talking about the American left right now.
Yeah.
You can protest, but why in the world would you be? These protests that I read that one of them started like 5 minutes before Fox even went on with this, and I know Fox wasn't early to the game. I've seen something about that.
Yeah.
But flying Iranian flags, not the old flag that a lot of people pulled out that represented the Shah and his regime, but the current one. And how ignorant. That's like saying, screw you to the population of Iran that wants this to take place. And screw all of those people because it's Orange Man that's doing all of this.
And you know, the last 4 years, they had their guy who honestly didn't do much, and they still complained. It was still Orange Man bad. They were still not happy. So you're absolutely right. I would love to know what it's going to take. You know, right now in the situation, looking from afar, maybe some people might not think it was a good idea to go into Iran. And I get it. You are free, like you said, you are free to think so. And I freely encourage that. America was built on freedom. But just, I mean, you know, some of the articles I was reading earlier, Donald Trump's mentally unsound. Well, how do you figure? Well, I guess during the State of the Union address, he was saying something, and something flew out of his mouth and landed on the paper in front of him. It happens. It's not like, I mean, the man's 80 years old. He stood up there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it was. You know, it was later in the evening. When was the last time you saw Joe Biden up that late or standing that long or even making a speech that was coherent? So what? Something flew out of his mouth. Big deal. We're all human. Oh, it's tonsil stones, and that's a sign of mental illness. And I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm getting way off topic. It's easy to do so when we get talking about the loony left.
I've got a screen to share. When you talk about the loony left, let me get the right one. I think this is it. Nope, that's not it. There it is. Here we talk about the loony left. Ronnie, look up.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I actually had. Where was I? Wish I remember. I wish I'd labeled my videos. I did not.
Well, we had talked about this extensively on Wednesday.
Yes.
About frogs and things like that.
And the fart spray. I've seen that happen actually. That Randy was talking about.
Yes. We've got real things going on in the world right now. You know, as much as we joke about things, as much as we complain about the left and liberals, we've got men and women of the United States Armed Forces, men and women of the Israeli Armed Forces, and civilians in Iran that at any second their life could be over. And we've got these clowns wearing frog outfits that get news coverage. And so forgive me for giving them news coverage. How about that? There they go.
I think this might be the video. Hang on 1 second.
So just above me right now, we can see what we believe.
Apologies. Yeah, I had a video. If you recall from the State of the Union address on Wednesday, the Democrat, one of their parties afterwards was the woman was speaking. People dressed up like frogs. Oh, I got an echo going on. Yeah, people dressed up like frogs, and you're exactly right. People are dying. Serious things are going on. This could be the start of World War III. There could be terrorists. These people want to dress up frogs and get news. People want to dress. Aggravating. I just don't get it. All right. Well, I've got some more videos we can run through here and take a look-see while we get some more information coming in.
I was in contact with, my colleagues in the Persian Gulf, and I explained for them that, we have no intention to attack them, but we are actually attacking the American bases in the act of self-defense.
I think it was interesting that he talked about the effort to reach out to the Gulf states and tell them that Iran was simply attacking American bases. I think this was a very foolish mistake by Iran. Iran makes these mistakes all the time in its negotiations, in its dealings with its neighbors. I've often found that one is surprised at how clumsy they are. They should never have attacked the Gulf states, in particular Saudi Arabia. The Gulf states had made clear they did not want any part of this military operation. They had said bases couldn't be used. Some of them had said airspace can't be used. They had privately counseled President Trump not to do this attack. What the Iranians should have done was driven a wedge between the United States and the Gulf states, and made clear that they did not view the Gulf states as responsible for this. Instead, by foolishly attacking the Gulf states, they have joined together those states. You've seen the UAE has made very strong statements. The Saudis, very importantly, made a very strong statement saying that they regarded the attack as outrageous, and they were going to, in some way or the other, retaliate, or they supported any retaliation. So the Iranians have already misplayed this.
I've got a bunch of videos I've thrown on here, but go ahead.
Well, since 1979, the Iranian regime has misplayed many things. And somebody asked me earlier today if I thought that I would ever see this. And again, I was in the military from 1980 to 1984. Iran, the revolution happened in 79. So that's right. I'm right there. It's that time frame. And they've made a lot of bad decisions. But the difference between now and any time in between, and this is even including my time as in service as under the Commander-in-Chief Ronald Reagan, nobody ever has taken it directly to Iran. Reagan was very, very successful at getting our hostages out. I think he was very successful in making them believe that if they stepped out of line, they would pay for it. But you look at every president after that, nobody has ever looked at regime change. Nobody has ever looked at bombing Tehran. We've had presidents that instead of bombing Tehran, sent millions of dollars on crates to them. We've had them be in some stupid leadership post in the United Nations, like human rights, and in Iran, it is the president of that group at the United Nations, and just stupidity. So the difference here is two things, and I'll say two men's names: Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu. There got to be a point where Netanyahu says, if we're going to exist, then all of these other entities that won't give us a chance, they've got to go away. Donald Trump says they're not going to receive or be able to have nuclear weapons. We started that, but that didn't hinder them, being Iran, from doing their best to start the production up again, ramping things up with Russia and China. And so, there just gets to be a point where it's not that they're a pest. They are threatening devastation to the entire world. And I won't compare Iran to Germany in World War II, But at some point, you got to say, no, we're going to stop this. And, almost 50 years. Let's see. Yeah, almost 50 years worth. 29 will be 50 years. And pacifying them all through the years, putting sanction on them through all of the years. Sanctions, all that did was hurt the population of Iran. It didn't hurt the leaders. It didn't hurt their military. All of those things were able to flourish. It was the people in Iran that caused the issue with. Ronnie?
Yeah. Sorry, I was getting ready to pull something up. So I just came up with something. Tucker Carlson has come out strongly against U.S.-Israel attack on Iran. Let's see if I can find where he talked. I guess I'll just read it. Tucker Carlson's come out strongly against the attack on Iran. ABC's Jonathan Karl reports. Karl posted a video on X Saturday, which he revealed that he reached out to Carlson for his take President Donald Trump's decision to attack, and Carlson was unsparing in his assessment. Absolutely disgusting and evil, Carlson said, according to Karl. The criticism is particularly notable given that Carlson visited the White House just last week in apparently an effort to retain his influence with the president. Carlson has long warned of the dangers of another armed conflict in the Middle East. Karl explained why he sought out Carlson's take on the news. Carlson is just one person, a prominent one in Trump's movement, Karl said, but this is a momentous and potentially defining or maybe redefining move for President Trump. He got into politics in part promising to end what he called forever wars. He was harshly critical of the war with Iraq. He claimed that he had always been against it, and now he finds himself starting what could be another major conflict with Iran. Now, I get that. And that was one thing that we talked about when we went live with Venezuela. Wasn't Donald Trump supposed to be the president of peace? Why is he starting a conflict in Venezuela? There's multiple reasons. And sometimes to have peace, you need to, be ready for war. You can't just, it's just, you have to be strong. And that's what we did in the invasion of Venezuela. It didn't go in and whoop them for oil. We didn't go in and, take the resources. We didn't go in and take their land. We went in to take out a terrorist leader that was not democratically elected, got him out of there, got the democratically elected leader in there, and look at how things are going. It's been so much better. Gas prices are down. We're working with them on oil production. Things have been great. People aren't dying anymore as in the major numbers they were. The drug boats aren't still coming across the waters, and if they do, boom, they go bye-bye. But I support Tucker Carlson, even though I disagree with him. He is a Trump supporter. Yeah, he was on Fox News. Yeah, he's talked to Trump multiple times, but he just disagrees, and that's his freedom and right to have that point of view. So, I don't know why this left supporter is trying to turn it against. Oh, well, there's separations in the MAGA movement because Tucker Carlson doesn't agree with Donald Trump. I don't agree with everything Donald Trump does. Do you?
No, and they make it.
I mean, he's not Jesus Christ. He can't walk on water. So,
well, they make it like Tucker Carlson has a huge influence over the entire MAGA movement. Much like when Charlie Kirk was assassinated and Candace Owens and her deal, people letting Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens occupy too much time in their brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Most everything about Tucker, I'm going to agree with most of the time. But when I disagree with him, I think he is nuts on that one topic. It's like, how can the same person believe just like me all the way through and then 100% opposite on one or two things? But you're right. This is America, and he's got the
Exactly.
right to do that. And I have the right to say he's a nut on those topics.
Yeah. And just because one person or multiple people don't agree with President Trump's decision doesn't mean there's dissent in the MAGA movement. You know, I mean,
Well,
just because.
well,
Go ahead.
well, I was just going to say and lighten it up a little bit. Randy Lepettis was in here, and your mom and I went to a doctor's appointment for her this week, and we ate lunch at Skyline Chili. Now, if you don't know anything about Skyline Chili, it's a place that you either love their chili or you can't stand their chili. I, on one hand, love the chili. I took picture of our food and asked on Facebook, where are we at? Tons of people, including Randy Lepettis, had a comment on that. And Randy said we were at some place that he could not stand. And so we bantered back and forth for 2 or 3 comments. And he said, you know, it's nice to know that you can disagree with somebody about something and they don't hate your guts.
Right. I don't get it. I mean, that doesn't mean that you guys aren't friends anymore. It doesn't mean you're not going to talk to him anymore. You know, I don't get it. Just because Tucker Carlson doesn't agree doesn't mean, you know, and just like Candace Owens didn't agree, big deal. That's one person's opinion. If you don't like it, scroll on. Next video, you know, that's like if you don't like us, don't sit here and listen to us and then complain about us. Move on. That's what adults do.
Except for the ones that are on TikTok.
On TikTok.
They hammered me on the one Charlie Kirk video that I commented on about
Really?
not here to make friends or however it was that went. Yeah, there was some pretty mean ones on there, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm going to sleep well tonight, with or without
Really?
their approval. What was I looking for here?
Boy, I can't spell apparently. I'm getting us a new ticker going with some new news because I saw this actually last night and I was gonna bring it up today, but with everything going on, but I've got to sneak it in there, especially for Miss Beth. If you're listening, Bethy, they canceled the Artemis 2 mission to the moon. It's still having some fuel leaks. They're saying now it was supposed to be in February, and then it was in March, and then it was in April, and now it's not until 2028, if that even happens. So we will see. Tucker Carlson is anti-Israel, absolutely. I've heard that. Unfortunately, with Candace Owens being anti-Erica Kirk, and you wouldn't expect that. Tucker Carlson is anti-Israel, and you wouldn't expect that. I believe, and don't mark me, I mean, I know we're not red, white, and assume, but I think he's also anti-Ukraine. But for some reasons that might not make sense to everybody, but does to him. And that's his right. Doesn't mean he's anti-MAGA. Doesn't mean there's dissent in the MAGA movement. People just have difference of opinion.
Well, we have been at this topic for many hours since around 2:00 last night. Last night, you and I were both, we said, almost asleep when we heard that this was taking place. I was one of those where I'd have my phone in front of me. I think I was even playing a game. And I'd drop the phone out of my hand and my head would bob. And then I did that 3 or 4 times and then got the message and jumped up.
And it was time to go.
Yeah, it was go time.
Yeah, we decided it was time to jump, time to go. Which I enjoy it when we do that. We actually had quite a bit of people online, so.
Yeah, usually when it's live and breaking, X followers turn out in droves. And so if you're here with us tonight and you're not normally a follower, thank you for being with us. As I mentioned earlier, Red, White, and True with Ed and Ronnie, each week on Monday, Wednesday, and either Friday or Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we have a regularly scheduled program. And then at other times, like numerous times today, we break in live with an event or something horrible that has happened. We've mentioned Charlie Kirk's name here multiple times, and that was by far the worst time that we had to break in with live news that was going on. But I am not Catholic.
There's something going
but
on with
we
your
do-
sound.
Really?
Yeah, it sounds like you're talking down a hallway and then you get kind of loud and then it goes back to being far away. I don't know.
See if this is. I may be getting too far away from the mic.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all right. It's tolerable. We'll forgive you for this one.
Good. I have to go to mass
not
and
the
ask
next
for
time.
forgiveness. We do have church tomorrow. I'm not Catholic, so I don't do mass, but we have our weekly worship service, 6 o'clock tomorrow night at the Father's house, 10 o'clock in the morning at Old Union Church. And strange that this topic is back. We will be having a chili dinner immediately after church tomorrow. I asked Ronnie, I said, "You going to be at church tomorrow?" And he said, "There's going to be chili." Yeah,
Right?
he comes other time. He comes
Yeah,
other
of course I'm
times
going to
too.
be there. Mainly when there's food. But the Lord knows, the Lord forgives me. But that's only because the best food is church food. I mean, it really is.
I've put a lot of work in on my physique with church food. Seems how they can only see me from the shoulders up. They don't know exactly what I'm talking about. Go ahead, Ronnie.
I just changed the banner, adding some new news headlines in there, and I figure we can give it a little look over here to Agenda Free, see what he's got going on. Of course, when we were not live, it looked like there was stuff going on. Then we go live, and you're looking at a cloudy sky. So I'm looking at the Pentagon Pizza Index over here as well. This time last night, I kept glancing over and the pizza index. So what this is, and actually, you know what? I'm going to pull it up because it's actually kind of interesting.
While you're doing that, I saw Pete Hegseth actually acknowledge this, and jokingly said he was going to start making huge orders of pizzas just to throw things off. So,
where? Oh, wrong. If you can hear my dog, my apologies. Spunk got a bone today when I was at Rural King, and he decides right now is the right time to sit here and crunch. So it was between a piggy ear or a bone, and he don't like piggy ears, so I got him a bone. All right. So this is courtesy of Southern Prepper. It's a new. I just discovered him Tuesday, I believe. This is just another one of the things that I track here in my command center. And here in the right side is the Pentagon Pizza Index. We're at DoCon 4. As I was saying last night, at this time there was all of these places were had spiked in orders. Domino's, Extreme Pizza, District Pizza Palace, We the Pizza, Pizzato Pizza, and Papa John's. So what the theory is when these pizza joints near the Pentagon pick up in orders, something major is going to happen. Because people there at the Pentagon are ordering pizza for dinner, they're staying there late. So this gentleman, Southern Prepper, keeps track of the Pentagon Pizza Index. Yesterday we were at DOCON 3, and now we're at DOCON 4. And then down here it's kind of small. You barely read it. The Nothing Ever Happens Index, and I don't know too much about that. But thank you to Southern Prepper for information on the DOCON Pizza Index. He isn't normal.
Well, I don't know
Me?
about you.
Oh wait, the dog. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to say that I am always very much in trying to be in tune with the folks that are with us and not be a waste of their time. And it seems that we are at the point where we really don't have new information, and we both didn't get much sleep last night, so we've got some sleep to catch up on. I've got a little bit of work to finish before I go to bed to be prepared for tomorrow's services. So unless you have an objection, I think we should pray about the situation and then call it a night.
I do not. I'm kind of talked out for the moment, anyways. No, don't get us wrong. If something happens, I've got the command center here. Keep an eye on everything. Something comes back, I'll jump back on. I'm good with that, and I know you will as well. So yeah, I'm good with. Oh, Mama's got chili to make.
Yes, she does.
Yeah.
So let me pray, and we'll get out of here. Father, thank you for being with us tonight. And I thank you for each person that is listening right there at this second, ones that have been here throughout the night, and ones that'll listen to this down in the future in the archived editions of these live streams. Father, I lift up our troops. I lift up the leadership. I lift up everyone involved, the Israelis, both militaries, the civilians, and I pray for wisdom for all of them. I pray that in the name of Jesus and rebuking Satan, that those in Iran that are on the wrong side of this will lay down their arms, that they will surrender, they will do the right thing and allow this to be over with. And a new generation and a new era in Iran, one that the people can be proud of, and one that will make them be a part of the world instead of isolated as they've been for so long. Thank you for Ronnie and his efforts this week. It's been a good long week, but it's been difficult. Thank you, Father, for all that you do as far as helping us lead the way, and you lead the way and us follow that guidance. Father, I pray for a blessing over the worship services that we will be in tomorrow. Those that are listening, many from other congregations and even around the world, bless their time praising and worshiping your Son, Jesus Christ. We lift all of this up in his precious name. Amen.
All right.
Well, talk us right on out of here.
All right. Well, like we were saying earlier, please be extra vigilant in anything that you do, anywhere you go. Please have a plan. A couple extra minutes of thinking now could save your life later. If you are local, or if you would just like to reach out for more information, please feel free to do so. I will gladly spend some time with you and give you some options. Please keep praying for peace. Pray for safety of the good guys, and that this evil regime in Iran gets out of there and things change. So Thank you everybody for being here. We surely appreciate you. If nothing else major happens, we will be back here Monday night, 8 o'clock, right here on Red, White, and True. But until then, please go out and do the right thing. Good night, everybody.